Ghana, Accra, and the moment that my feet hit the ground, I just felt this energy. I felt this this spiritual connection to just being on the soil, to being on the continent for the first time, and it was amazing. I had an incredible time there, but one of the most life-changing experiences that I've had happened when we visited the slave castles on the coast of Ghana. These are castles that have been there for 500, 600 years, and you literally walk into these slave dungeons where they kept our ancestors, you know, before they loaded them up on the ships to bring them over to America. I thought I was gonna be filled with rage. I thought I was gonna be angry to be in the location where so many of my ancestors were tortured, chained. It was still a harrowing experience, you know, to be in these brick walls, and you could almost feel the heaviness. It felt like the spirits of ancestors were still there, you know what I mean? And then you hear the stories about how if they didn't do what the slave masters tell them to do, they would chain them in the middle of the entire castle and throw rocks at them and torture them. You hear the insane stories how they had all these human beings together in these small spaces, and how they had to defecate and use the restroom right where they stood, being locked into these dungeons for months before they were loaded up on these ships. I don't even know how to accurately explain how I felt, but you saw that I walked into the male slave dungeon, and they had the women's slave dungeons, and they showed where they had the kids chained up, waiting to load them on these ships. And then they walk you through this pathway, and there's an arch that says the point of no return. And it says the point of no return because after these enslaved human beings were walked through this corridor, they were loaded onto the ships where, you know, the next thing for them was the Middle Passage. It's horrifying to think about these people being kidnapped and taken away from their families, trapped in these dungeons, and then loaded up on these ships, never to return, never to come back home, never to see their family again. But I had this epiphany when I walked through that door. I had returned. It made me think about the fact that somebody in my lineage, somebody with my DNA, had to survive Jim Crow, had to survive 300 years of slavery in America, had to survive the Middle Passage, and had to survive being in those dungeons. All these things have been done to destroy us, to enslave us. And here I came back, and I was standing there where my ancestors once stood, you know what I mean? And so when Ryan Coogler talked about coming back from Africa and being less angry and understanding that everything that our oppressors did to us, they didn't take everything that we thought that they took. You know what I mean? For us to still be the most influential culture on this planet.